Hello, I'm Corey. I'm a PhD student studying at Queen Mary University of London in the Centre for Digital Music. I'm also funded by the UKRI Centre for Doctoral Training in AI and Music. I am presenting my work, co-authored with my supervisor, Professor Nick Bryan-Kinns, looking towards creating a reflection in Creative Experience Questionnaire. Designing interfaces to support creativity is an ongoing challenge in HCI research, informing system design across many domains. However, despite its importance in the creative process, reflection is an underexplored aspect in creative user experiences. This might be because reflection is ill-defined, making it difficult to compare moments of reflection across study conditions or interface prototypes. We suggest that a measure of reflection in creative experience might be helpful for CST researchers, driving forward investigations in this area. HCI research has frequently explored reflection as a desirable aspect in personal informatics, slow technology, and design processes, less so in creative contexts. Indeed, some seminal works by Bormer, Fleck and Fitzpatrick, and Bent-Veltzen et al. Have reviewed HCI literature on reflection to characterize the concept across these areas. With respect to measuring reflection, in the field of personal informatics, Bent-Veltzen et al. Developed the Technology-Supported Reflection Index, or the TSRI, to quantify levels of reflection afforded by personal informatics systems. Their scale likely provides the measurement closest to our goals in this paper. However, where the TSRI is designed for personal informatics systems to evaluate systems like the one pictured, we are more interested in assessing people's moments of reflection during a recent creative experience. The TSRI's questions on long-term personal data do not seem to fit our domain of creativity support, as in creative contexts, interaction can be open-ended and unpredictable. We set out in this work to create a questionnaire which can differentiate between creative user experiences with more or less moments of reflection. We thus contribute the first iteration of the Reflection in Creative Experience Questionnaire, abbreviated to RICE. To create RICE, we first generated items based on our background reading, and reduced these items via reviews by ourselves and experts in creativity. We then perform an exploratory factor analysis to reduce and group our items into factors. To initially develop items, we searched through items from existing questionnaires identified in the literature review. Some were novel and some were rephrased from existing measures to relate more directly to creativity and reflection. These items were narrowed down further through discussions between myself and my co-author before being reviewed by 10 experts. These experts worked in creative disciplines and were mostly PhD students with some experience with creativity-related HCI, but also included filmmakers and musicians. The word cloud here gives a brief overview of their background. Key findings were that items indicating a cyclical process of improvement in creative work possibly indicate moments of reflection. For example, the experts noted that you can reflect on each interaction to understand why each may not have worked, or that they are constantly learning and refining techniques when being creative. Worrying about others' perceptions also didn't seem important to the experts. Perhaps the experts' decisions in creative activities are mostly personal to creators. The exploratory factor analysis was conducted using 16 items, which 7 out of the 10 experts fully agreed might indicate moments of reflection. 300 participants were recruited through Prolific and asked to choose a CST they were familiar with, listed in the table shown here. Broadly speaking, CSTs ranged from Microsoft Word to Photoshop to GarageBand. The participants then completed the 16 items considering their choice of CST. The details of the statistical method can be found in the paper, but overall the following factors were identified. Reflection on current process. This factor contains items asking whether people reflect on how they already make their art. These are, whilst being creative, I like to think about my actions to find alternative ways of doing them, and I often re-examine things I'd already learnt. Reflection on self. This factor contains items asking whether people reflect on themselves whilst being creative. These are: I learned many new things about myself during the experience, and I pondered over the meaning of what I was doing in relation to my personal experiences. Reflection on past experience. This factor contains items asking whether people look back on their previous creative experiences. These are: I explored my past experiences as a way of understanding new ideas, and whilst creating, I thought back on some of my past experiences. Finally, we have reflection through experimentation. This factor contains items asking whether people test things out and reflect on the results whilst using a CST. These are: I made comparisons within the system to consider alternative ways of doing things, and I often generated, tested, and revised ideas. The second half of the paper presents a user study with two novel, simplistic CSTs to test Rice's reliability. In the first CST, users can write a short story and receive feedback on the positive or negative sentiment of their writing. So if I wrote a story with happy words, you see that the slider at the top points towards the happy face and the background becomes more green the happier my story is. If I write a story with sad words, the slider moves towards the unhappy face and the background becomes more red. In the second interface, users could draw a number of dots onto the screen by clicking and dragging. These are then sonified to create a musical piece. This button switches between the drawing mode and eraser mode, so you can remove dots. We tested these interfaces to evaluate the scale's factor structure, test-retest reliability, ability to measure our intended construct, and its relationship with related scales. See the paper for more details. Although we cannot claim validity, the factors found we suggest can be interpreted in a conceptually meaningful way. There is some suggestion that we were reliably measuring the intended construct also. For example, there was evidence that higher Rice scores occur alongside more naturally reflective people. In conclusion, this paper presents the initial development of a lightweight self-report questionnaire for differentiating between creative user experiences which exhibit more or less moments of reflection, named the Reflection in Creative Experience Questionnaire. We identified 4 factors which we suggest can be interpreted in a conceptually meaningful way: reflection on current process, reflection on self, reflection through experimentation, and reflection on past experience. We cannot claim full validity yet, but invite the CHI community to reach out if interested in collaborating with us to test out Rice in their own creative domain. We hope to be able to support reflection across a variety of creative contexts and support the study of reflection in CST research. Thank you.